Welcome. I am back on a Monday night, so like I said, no college or anything now. Sorry I had to take the week off last week. I just kind of get into the personal. Sorry about that. I get kind of adjusted here. Get into the personal aspect of things. I did have. I was gonna wait and do the video Thursday or Friday, but I had an infection in the eye. It started right here and it kind of wrapped around the eye a little bit. I have to take drops and medication for it for till the drops until Friday and the medication until Monday. But it's clearing up. It's doing well. So I'm doing better now and ready to talk some football. Before we get into any of football, I will like to say that the NHL season is really heating up. The Lightning are pretty much walking away with the East right now. Washington, Toronto, right behind them. Just got done watching the Toronto and Washington are right behind them. Just got done watching Boston and Montreal play, and one of the surprise stories of the NHL season is the Montreal Canadiens. So I think that just goes to show you with a great goaltender of Carey Price, you can go a long way with some defense. So the Western Conference, Nashville, I think Vegas is up there. Calgary is looking. I think Calgary's got to be a surprise too. So, looking at that, the NBA. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA. Denver is a half-game lead over Golden State. Houston is starting to make their way up there. Oklahoma City is in the 3 spot. Um, we'll see what goes with that. The Lakers are right there in the middle of it. LeBron's still been out since Christmas with that injury, so we'll see how he does when he comes back. Also in the Eastern Conference, that was the Western. The Eastern Conference, Toronto is ahead of Milwaukee and Indiana. I think Indiana with Victor Oladipo has been sensational. So we'll see how the Eastern Conference goes. Boston's in the 4 spot. I think Miami's 5. I don't know the rest of the standings, but looking pretty decent in those sports. So that's it for college football. I am going to wait and do end of the season tallies once the Super Bowl is over, and then we'll do kind of like a college tally up, and then we'll do an NFL tally up, see how I did for the year. But congratulations! A week ago tonight, the Clemson Tigers thrash the Alabama Crimson Tide, 44-16. A great performance by Trevor Lawrence in that game. I got a new favorite receiver in Justin Ross. He looks sensational at that receiver position. A true freshman. Both of these are true freshmen. I would expect that these teams could be in the running next year. It could be a good matchup there. One of the things I was going to talk about last week because I wasn't on, but I was going to say, when you look at the NBA Finals of the last few years, you're looking at Cleveland and Golden State, Golden State, and a lot of people are getting tired of this Alabama-Clemson matchup. I like it because this is variety. Each year somebody else wins. When they first met in Arizona, Alabama won 44-41. Then they played in Tampa 2 years ago. Clemson pulled it out with Deshaun Watson last year, meeting in the Sugar Bowl for the semifinal, 24-6 thrashing by Alabama over Clemson, and then this year was 44-16. So this is getting 2-2 against each other, and both these teams have lost only 4 games, or now Clemson has lost has only lost, I think, 4 games in the last 2 years, and Alabama's only lost 5 games in the last 2 years, or 4 games in the last 2 years, and 2 of those losses have been against each other, or something like that. It's been like the last 4 or 5 years they've only lost 1 or 2 times a year. So these are the dynasties right now. I don't think you could ever create the term co-dynasty, but these guys are trading the stuff back and forth. So Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban, these guys aren't going anywhere from the semifinal. I think the rest of college football needs to catch up with these guys because I think Clemson and Alabama got it above everybody else, especially now with Ohio State. Urban Meyer retiring. Is Ohio State going to take a hit now? I think if you look at teams below Clemson and Alabama, you look at maybe Ohio State. You maybe look at Notre Dame. We'll see how they go. Just going off of that, Oklahoma, now that Kyler Murray has now entered the NFL draft, Dwayne Haskins entered the NFL draft. I think that really sparks the quarterback interest a little bit because a lot of people are saying, you don't really go after the quarterback with the first pick, but if you are the New York Giants, I've seen something on the Score app, which is a great app, by the way. I recommend it to all y'all. Haskins could be drafted by the New York Giants. Could be a good replacement for Eli. Kyler Murray, who knows where he goes? Does he go number 1 with Arizona? We'll kind of do more in depth there once the draft comes up. What else was I going to say? So we look at some of those teams that may have just made it in. Georgia, I think, is a playmaker away from really taking that next step and challenging Alabama in the SEC. And I also got to look at Florida. Florida could get up there. Michigan is right there on the grims, but Alabama and Clemson in college football right now are right there where they need to be. I would say co-dynasty, but I don't know if you can really say that. So, but congratulations to the Clemson Tigers on their national championship win. So we go back to what happened last week. I picked Kansas City. If I didn't say this, I said this on Facebook. I took Kansas City, LA, both LA teams, and New Orleans. I went 3 out of 4. Of course, the Chiefs winning 31-13, and the Rams winning against Dallas 30-22. Great seasons by Indianapolis and Dallas. Dallas was left for dead at 3-5 with the trade with Amari Cooper. Came back, finished I think 10-6. Was it 10-6? Yeah, 10-6. So Dallas I think has a lot to look forward to for the future. So does the Colts. Colts were 1-5. They finished 10-6. Ran the table to get in. Just played a better team in the playoffs. Another great season for the Chargers as New England knocks off the Chargers and New Orleans knocked off Philadelphia. Philadelphia and the Chargers, we'll talk to them independently. The Chargers, 12-4, a lot of debate. They should have been the second seed because of the division, whatever. Still, great season for the Chargers. I think they got I think all these teams that got eliminated got a lot to look forward to for next year. The one thing that intrigues me is Philadelphia. A lot of people are talking about Foles or Wentz, and I think you got to go with Wentz, but that does strike up the conversation of the injury-prone label. What if he does get hurt next year? Who's going to be their backup if Foles leaves? Foles, I think, could fit well with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe who's another team that a lot of people are talking about? The Jacksonville, maybe Cincinnati. We'll see how that goes. So New Orleans and New England, the Rams and Kansas City all move on. All the home teams win. So next week it'll be for the conference championship. And next week at this time, or next Sunday, next week at this time, we'll know who the Super Bowl matchup will be. In 3 weeks, will it be the Rams going to the Super Bowl in the NFC, or will it be the Saints? And the winner of that will take on the New England Patriots or the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's good to say Kansas City's gotten out of that funk. They finally win a playoff game. They're into the second. They're past the second round of the playoffs. They're in the conference championship. So it's really good to see that the Chiefs have made it. I am going with the New Orleans Saints to beat the New LA Rams, and I am going with Kansas City to beat New England. So I think New Orleans and Kansas City will be our Super Bowl. But I will not be surprised if we have a New Orleans versus New England, or an LA Rams versus Kansas City or New England. LA Rams and New England would be a rematch of Super Bowl 35. Switch them around, it's 53, and they're meeting again. That could happen. You don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I think that's what really intrigues everybody. I think what was expected happened. I think Philadelphia and New Orleans was a lot closer than people thought that was going to be. New England, I think New England winning was not a surprise. The way they won is how that was surprising. Kansas City beating Indianapolis the way they did. Surprising to a point because Indianapolis didn't really start hitting their stride, and they just got outmatched. Kansas City's defense showed up. The Rams and Dallas, that was a barn burner, but it was still all 3 of the 4 games this week pretty good. So, and this is the first time in NFL history we are going into a conference championship game where the top 4 offenses of the NFL are meeting for the conference title games. So like I said, I will take the Saints to beat the Rams, and I am taking the Chiefs to beat New England, and I think that'll be our matchup for the Super Bowl. But I could be wrong. You never know. And a lot of coaches got hired while we were away. The Browns hired Freddie Kitchens as their head coach. Bucks hired Bruce Arians as their head coach. He's the former Cardinals coach that stepped down last year. Broncos hired Vic Fangio. Jets hired Adam Gase. That was just officially announced today. Cardinals hire Cliff Kingsbury as their head coach. He had previously wanted to go to the USC as an offensive coordinator. He stepped down from that role to take the Cardinals job. And the Packers hired Matt LaFleur. Mike McCarthy is taking the year off. Dolphins and Bengals are still without head coaches. Bengals, it's reported that Zach Taylor, the quarterback coach of the Rams, is going to be the new head coach of Cincinnati once the season is over. Dolphins still continuing to look for that search for a head coach, and it's been said, came out yesterday, that they are planning to rebuild, looking for a quarterback in the 2020 draft, so we shall see. So that'll be it for this week. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be sharing my wisdom with you. We are getting to the end. We are in the home stretch of football now, and we're getting down. There's only 3 games. Well, 4 games if you include the Pro Bowl, but we got only a handful of games left, or less than a handful of games left of games this season. So, for everybody, wish you all a great week. Hope you enjoy yourselves this upcoming week. God bless. Stay safe, and I will see you next week.